and welcome to Writing Tips with Rachel. Today I'm talking about the top hurdles that keep writers from getting started on a writing project. I meet a lot of people who tell me they want to write a book, and I believe them, but they never even get started. Many of them have asked me how to get started, and even still, they don't get started. There are a lot of reasons we don't get started on a project. Even I've been guilty of putting off a project that intimidated me, and I've written lots of books. So what are the most common reasons we don't get started? And what can we do about them? The number one reason is time. We don't have enough time. Maybe we have a job that demands a lot of energy and hours. Or maybe we have a family and never seem to have a moment when we can sit down and be alone for a bit. I've often lamented the lack of time to just sit and stare into space and think. In my video, How to Get Started on a Writing Project, I have a lot more to say about this issue of time. But the best thing we can do is schedule time. It doesn't even have to be long. 10 minutes, 20, if you're lucky, an hour. Put it in the calendar, protect it, treat it like an appointment or an important non-negotiable meeting. Let the people in your life know you're not available from this time to this time. Make it a routine, which helps turn it into a habit. The thing about time is that it can slip through our fingers if we're not intentional about the way we use it. Related to this, set some small, specific goals. If your goal is to write 1 day a week, check on your progress. You can also have word count goals or chapter goals. Goals help keep us on track and pursuing our writing routine, which, again, becomes a writing habit. The second reason is our mind. The mind can be brutal. We need it for writing, but it can also work against us. It can make us think we don't have what it takes, or that the world doesn't need what we have to say, or that we don't have a story to tell. It can make us too focused on perfectionism. It can throttle us with self-doubt. It can list all the reasons we'll be criticized for what we're doing or the book we're trying to write. I know, I've been there. But here's what we can do to make our mind work for us. Just write. I always recommend that writers get their first draft done without trying to correct any mistakes or make it the least bit perfect. My first drafts are full of little notes to myself that say things like, something like this here, or name here, if I've forgotten what I called a minor character. I don't stop to look up those things or rewrite. Sometimes I don't even stop long enough to name things. Like, say a character is starting a group at their school. In my first draft, I just write, name of group, here, because the first draft is for getting the story down without a focus on perfection. The other drafts are where we slowly whittle the story into what we want it to be. Writing a draft like this usually eliminates all those other voices. And once we have a first draft down, we often find we have just enough confidence to go and rewrite it again, and again, and again, until it's as close to perfect as we can get it. If you're still struggling with believing you have what it takes to write a book, seek out some resources. There are all kinds of fantastic writing craft books out there. Websites like Writer's Digest and Writer Unboxed can be really helpful as well. The third reason is overwhelm. Writing a book is a giant undertaking. Often when we start a book, we already can't wait to get to the finish because we can see it all clearly in our minds. It's too bad it can't just spill out like that on paper. And because it can't, we often feel completely overwhelmed with the work before us. We look at the end and it's just so far away. I suggest taking it one step at a time. Focus only on the chapter you're writing. And when you're done with that one, focus on the next one. Make some small, reachable goals for yourself, like finish chapter 1 by Friday, or write 500 words on chapter 2 today. Every step along the way is progress, and that's a step in the right direction. Another suggestion is to try some writing exercises. There are prompts all over the place. Play a little. This can help reconnect you with your love of writing and remind you why you want to write that book in the first place. The fourth reason is procrastination. Maybe you have the time. Maybe you just don't use it well because of all the distractions. So many things to watch on Netflix and Apple TV. There's so many good books to read. There's so many things to do around the house, laundry and dishes, and maybe I should vacuum the stairs again. This is all procrastination. Stop it. Here's how you can hopefully stop it. Start with a writing exercise. As I mentioned before, this can help put us in a playful state of mind. It can unlock our creativity and prime our brains for the bigger project of our book. I'd also suggest brainstorming. That way you have a clear picture of where you want to go with your writing time. You can even go so far as to outline. I know that can be a bad word in the writing world, but full disclosure, I am a plotter. I plot all my stories except one every now and then that ends up being a giant mess and taking much longer to fix than my plotted stories. But that's just me. In the same way, make sure you eliminate distractions in your writing space. Turn off your phone if you need to. Close out your email tab. Don't check social media. If you finally have the time to write, you want to focus your attention on doing exactly that. Thanks for tuning in to Writing Tips with Rachel. I hope these tips have been helpful for you. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for videos about books and life and more videos like this.